Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. Gal would hopefully join us shortly. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So, just give us a recap of what happened last Sunday.
Let's wait until see if Gal joins.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't want to get into all the details again.
No, we won't.
But it's good. You fix your problem the easy way. You didn't have to recreate. And that's
correct. When Gal joins, we'll mention it.
We'll talk about it. Yep.
Yeah, because his intuition was spot on with what the error was. So before we start, Alan's had some questions in the chat about RF.
Yes.
So there's a couple things. Let me just grab all of them. He says, what causes crossover of local radio signals in some areas more than others? So it depends on, it's typically more of an issue on FM, and it's called, the word is escaping me right now, but if you have so the way that it works is you've got a transmitter and an antenna, right? Transmitter, antenna. Antenna's on your car, transmitters from the radio tower. The signal travels to your antenna. But there's also so many other objects, there's buildings and so many other things in between you and the tower. That's why it's so high up in the air. So when you get to a fringer area of an FM signal, the signal can become distorted. And it becomes distorted because the signal, it's called multipathing. The signal finds a different way. It bounces off of a building and it's slightly delayed from the other signal. When your receiver gets that, it doesn't know what to do. So that's why you hear it as picket fencing, where it's the station's like. So that's the first thing. And that's typically when you're on the fringe of an FM signal. It's called multipathing. You're getting the same signal in multiple paths, which the receiver doesn't know what to do with. It's dumb. It just knows how to listen to a frequency and repeat it. It doesn't do anything else. So if the signal is delayed because of it bouncing off of something else, you're multipathing. You're getting the signal twice. The receiver doesn't know what to do. That's why it's cracky and poppy. He also said, when I was young, I could listen to our local TV stations over FM. It wasn't all local TV stations, but it was UHF channel 6, which had an audio carrier of 88.9, 88.6, something like that. Channel 6 on VHF its audio carrier was an FM frequency, so you could hear that. Now, that was before the analog to digital transition, which happened back in 2000 and depends on the market, 2008, 2009. Yeah, 87.7 was the UHF channel or VHF channel 6's audio carrier. So you could hear that. With digital, that's obviously gone, so that's not a problem anymore. Da, 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 da. He said, when I was very young, we had very few FM stations in our area. Even our American neighbors had few stations. However, we had 5 or 6 far reaching AMs, but when we were in Montana, the local stations barely reached across the town. If you're talking about FM, the only thing that really matters is height, also known as HAT, H-A-T, height over average terrain. And that's really all that matters for FM is frequency modulation is line of sight. So if your transmitter is not tall enough, or rather, if your transmitter is not your antenna is not tall enough, you have a weak pickup pattern. That's FM and AM are very, very different in how they propagate. That's why AM you can hear from, you can hear in North Carolina, you can pick up stations out of New York City with no problem during the night because of the difference between AM and FM. FM is completely different. It's specifically height, and that's why FM stations travel nowhere near as far as AM signals. So it's all about height. And that's just how FM is. You can have as much power as you want if this tower is not high enough or the antenna is not high enough to get over average terrain, meaning trees and things like that, mountain ridges, your pickup pattern is going to be very limited. So, yeah.
So, Nick, theoretically, then, if you could put an antenna a mile up in the air,
yeah,
how, and let's say it's what is the average wattage?
I mean, you have 50,000 watt AM.
Okay, 50,000
watt FM. You have 100. You have 100. There's 100,000 watt FMs in the Raleigh-Durham area.
Okay, FM 100,000 watts, a mile up in the air. Will it reach as far as the eye can see, or you also need more power? I mean,
no. It's FM is very height dependent.
But if it was
frequency modulation is line of sight. So as the line of sight is how high up is the antenna, how high up is the transmitter or the antenna, and how low are you when you're driving? That's the difference.
Okay, so if it's 10,000 watts, and I'm let's say I'm in another city.
Yeah, but you're using an example that's unrealistic. You're not going to be.
I know. No, that's what I'm saying. Theoretically.
Well, yeah, theoretically, I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is that FM is very height dependent.
Yeah. All right. Oh, interesting.
Like WRDU in Raleigh, 100.7 is 100,000 watts at nearly 2,000 feet. That's why the station covers
a big area,
a huge area.
Yeah. But that also becomes a problem if you are in another city that has a local FM station that's on the same frequency.
That's why the FCC has contours and protections and things like that.
Okay.
So it's very much dependent on the frequency, the height, the market. There's a lot of different things that go into it. So there's not necessarily a good. Alan says a station on 98.9 reached further than its AM counterpart on 1300. Well, 1300 is a bad AM signal. It's very high band, and it depends about the power. You can have 1,000 watt AM or a 5,000 watt AM daytime, and then a frequency at 98.7 that's 1,500 feet in the air, and it's absolutely going to travel further. And the 1,500 feet in the air might only have 500 watts, but because it's so damn high, it doesn't matter. So
good.
It's very, very, very dependent on. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's not necessarily. It's not an. I mean, it is. It's an exact science, but it's not an exact science. If that makes sense.
All right. Was a local station and hardly reached beyond their limits. They didn't have. I guess they didn't have a visa to go to Canada. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's all
It's yeah,
about height. It's all about height above average terrain.
yeah. And if you have
And if you're in an area where there's lots of um, peaks and valleys, and you don't have your antenna up on a ridge or a hill or a mountain or something like that, you will be very, very limited in your coverage.
yep. Good, good point. All right. Well, let's see. I just want to give a word of caution. If you're watching us on Roku, then it may not work this morning.
Well, then you're not watching us on Roku.
Well, yeah. If you were trying to watch on Roku, that's right.
If you're watching us on
That's
Roku,
like
it's
I
not
love
working.
it. I love it. This is like sometimes in on a website or something, and it says if you can't see this, click here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So on a cell phone, we get all kind of text and stuff, and there is a program on Android called Messages. And on Android, there's also dialer apps. So it turns out Messages and dialer apps for Android devices have been collecting and sending data to Google without specific notice and consent, and without offering the opportunity to opt out, potentially in violation of Europe's data protection law. According to a research paper, what data do the Google Dialer and Messages apps on Android send to Google by Trinity College Dublin computer science professor Douglas Leith? Google Messages for text messaging and Google Dialer for phone calls have been sending data about user communications to the Google Play services, Clearcut Logger service, and to Google's Firebase Analytics service. The data sent by Google Messages includes a hash of the message text, allowing linking to sender and receiver in a message exchange. The data sent by Google Dialer include the call time and duration, again allowing linking of the two handsets engaged in a phone call. So, in short, those two programs, Messages, which I use, and the dialer everybody uses.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of other apps that you can use. You don't have to use the built-in ones.
For dialer?
That I don't know.
Think,
I thought so.
Yeah. For Messages, absolutely. It's definitely something you have to download. You don't. It doesn't come on it.
There is a default SMS app.
Yeah, there is one, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. If you want to use Messages, you have to download it. It's not part of the phone when you get it. But yep. So they've been sending. I wonder when they'll fix that. It says Google. The data Google provided did not include the elementary data observed. So anyway, that's a problem, and it shows you how important any of the, I mean, when you think about it, yeah. So I get the phone number, and I get the duration. I mean, what does it do for me? If I could get on somebody's phone and know that they called this number for that long, what does it do for me? What can I do with Google? Can do stuff with it apparently. Otherwise, they wouldn't collect it. And that's the bad part. That they're after anything that they can get. And a couple of weeks ago, there was a story about Google leak. And the article goes, this may feel like deja vu because Google itself mistakenly leaked this announcement a few days ago. Oh, no, that's not. I'm thinking about something else. But the company officially announced the launch of SteamOS on Chrome OS. This happened last week, right? SteamOS.
What about it?
That they are now running on Chrome OS.
Oh, yeah.
Before you run off to install it, there are a few caveats. This is still an alpha release and only available on the more experimental and unstable Chrome OS dev channel. So I keep hearing Steam this and Steam that, and on your show with Brian on Infection Podcast, you're talking about Steam this and Steam. And I still don't understand. I know, is it Steam where you get the games?
Yeah, Steam is like the largest gaming platform on PC.
Okay. So the fact that it's running on Chrome OS means
Well, we covered this. Yeah, well,
no. In short, that means that you can use it on a Chromebook.
It does, but there are very few devices that it is eligible for. You know, you're not PC gaming on a computer that's got a 1.2 gigahertz processor and 4 gigs of RAM. I mean, there's PC gaming is a very highly intensive process, and you're not running this on your $200 Chromebook.
Okay.
So there are very few devices that this will work good for. But there you go.
All right. So it's for computers that have Chrome OS but are more powerful.
Yeah, and they've got a full list of everything on there.
Okay.
They've got a tech blog on it.
We talked a lot about right to repair and problems of local shops repairing your phones or computers. Well, starting this summer, Samsung says it will sell genuine parts and tools to customers needed to repair its Galaxy S20 and S21 smartphones, along with the Galaxy Tab S7 Plus tablet. The company, which is partnering with device repair resource iFixit on the initiative, will also provide access to step-by-step repair guides, and it plans to support more devices and repair over time. The program is similar to one that Apple announced last fall, allowing users to repair the display, battery, and camera on their iPhones. Samsung says it's launching the program, to promote a circular economy and minimize e-waste, though it's just as likely responding to regulatory pressure. Last year, the Federal Trade Commission said it would crack down on illegal repair restrictions, and iFixit expects dozens of states to introduce right to repair laws this year. So Samsung is kind of like jumping ahead of everybody and says, okay, yeah, well, not everybody. Apparently, Apple already. I don't. Users, to repair a camera, but can you even open the iPhone without breaking it? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. You absolutely.
I thought it was glass.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course there's glass, but yeah, I mean, yeah, you can. iFixit's got guides and toolkits and everything.
Okay.
There's very specific screws, and you need one of those glass wedges to make sure you get the screen up. But yeah, absolutely. Okay. People have been replacing screens on iPhones for a decade.
No, I'm talking about, I thought that the iPhone was glass front and back, and it was.
It is.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering if you can actually open it at home. Or do you
Yeah, if you have the right tools
Right
to do it,
tools.
absolutely.
Yeah, and apparently, I mean, they said that they will sell genuine parts and tools.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. I mean,
Too bad they're a little late to it. There's already companies doing that, like iFixit. It's been doing it for 10
Yeah.
years. They've been selling not the parts, but the tools.
A few weeks ago, we were talking about 3G and the fact that they're going to shut it down and all the problems that it's going to cause with.
I believe everybody but Verizon's 3G networks are off.
Well, no. T-Mobile said last Wednesday that its shutdown of Sprint's 3G network is proceeding as planned, beginning on March 31st. That's coming from The Verge.
Okay, so then after that, I believe Verizon will be the only one.
As part of the shutdown process, the company said in a statement emailed to The Verge, it will migrate customers over the next 60 days to ensure they are supported and not left without connectivity. And the network will be completely turned off by no later than May 31st. Earlier reports suggested that the actual shutdown date was being pushed to May 31st, which would have been the second delay. Originally, T-Mobile was going to phase out the network in January, but said in October that it would extend the deadline to March 31st. I guess I'm going to need to simulate a break-in to our house and see if it will notify the monitoring company, because I'm sure it's a 3G. I mean, it's probably about a 5-year-old cell phone on the wall, and that would be interesting to see, because I did not. I know some people said that they got notices. We did not get any notice about it. You were going to say something?
There are so many things that are using the 3G network.
Yeah.
Parking meters.
Ooh.
Some electric companies that have the ability to read your meter remotely. Water companies that have the ability to do that. Some of that stuff is on 3G. Security systems, as you mentioned, are on 3G. There's a lot of things that are still on the 3G network. Fortunately, if you haven't had your head up your ass for the last 3 or 4 years, this has been talked about now for probably the last 5 years that 3G is shutting down. Mm-hmm. So anybody that's scrambling now to fix something is not a good business operator, because this is not new. I mean, 3G has been deprecated for years. It's been talked about being shut down for years. So there was an issue here with a parking company. They're like, "Oh, some of our meters aren't working because of 3G." And I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Like, this has been delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. You guys just didn't follow through, and now you're gonna say, oh, well, no, it's it's a 3G problem. No, it's a you problem. This is not new. This is not something that just spawned up out of nowhere. It's been delayed for the last year, and then it's finally starting to happen.
Yep.
So if you don't have your crap already updated, you're just a crappy business operator. I'm sorry. I don't know of any other way to describe it.
No, you're
very frustrating.
Yeah.
It's incredibly frustrating. There's so many little devices and gadgets and gizmos that use the 3G network for telemetry. We're not even talking about necessarily, data. We're talking about just telemetry. Reporting back things, credit card processing, all of that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see once the full shutdown really happens. What
shit?
I know AT&T is off. I don't believe AT&T. I think in almost every place AT&T's 3G is off. T-Mobile's looks like it'll be off, and then Verizon, I'm not sure what they're doing.
Well, and I did not see anything mentioning Verizon Maybe they will keep it up because it's too expensive for them to replace. I don't know.
Who?
Verizon.
Well, they're going to have to shut it down. The spectrum's been sold, so
Yeah,
they don't
well,
really have.
I mean, they may wait until the last minute.
That's true. They might wait until the last minute, but still, I mean, they're going to have to shut it down. That spectrum is has been reallocated for, and
Yeah.
the longer they wait, they're going to reuse some of that frequency, some of that spectrum allocation for 5G. So the longer that they wait, that more problems they can have with their 5G network in terms of coverage and potentially speed.
Time will tell. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just amazing that something that has been so telegraphed and known for so long is still rearing its ugly head and is oh my god, 5G 3G is shut. What do you mean? It's like, where have you been living?
Yep.
But I get it.
All right. This is interesting. As Russia makes preparation to possibly disconnect from the global internet in a bid to control the narrative around the invasion of Ukraine, one secretive U.S. company is rushing to lay the final pieces of an unbreakable network that the Kremlin wouldn't be able to take down. The company is Lantern, which says it has seen staggering growth inside Russia in the last 4 weeks for its app that allows users to bypass restrictions the Kremlin has put in place on platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and others. But now the company is building something even more robust, an internal peer-to-peer network that will allow dissenting voices to continue to upload and share content, even if the Kremlin pulls the plug on the internet.
Yeah, so building an let's call it an intranet essentially is kind of what's being described.
Yeah, it's an intranet with the gateway out.
Yeah, an intranet with an outside gateway.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. I wonder how I'm curious as to how it works. I'm curious what they're using for connectivity. Are they using they're using like Ubiquity radios to create peer-to-peer? When they say peer-to-peer, is it one-to-one or one-to-many? Like how is that peer system working? Are you connected to your neighbor, or are you connected back to a hub and then the hub connects you to your neighbor, whatever it might be?
Yeah, they did not. I mean, I'm sure there's information out there, but the article did not say anything about that. But it's nice. Nice to know that something like this can happen, and then keep the people informed about what's going on in their backyards.
Yeah. Well, and the big question for me is, what does the gateway look like? Because you can have your intranet all you want, but if you don't have anything on it, nobody wants to access anything on it. How good? What is your gateway, and how does your gateway work?
Yeah. Obviously, you're right. You mentioned Ubiquity, and I saw something. Remember, there was some kind of a lawsuit about Ubiquity some time ago, and it turns out that it wasn't what it was. Oh yeah. Excuse me. In March 2021, the Krebs on Security blog reported that Ubiquity, a major vendor of cloud-enabled Internet of Things devices, had disclosed a breach exposing customer accounts credentials. But Krebs added that the company's source alleges that Ubiquity was downplaying the severity of the incident. which is not true, says Ubiquity. Krebs'
Oh, of
original
course.
post. Well,
No, it's not true. No.
Krebs' original posts now include an update, putting the word breach in quotation marks, and noting that actually a former Ubiquity developer had been indicted for the incident and also for trying to extort the company. It was that extortionist, Ubiquity says, who'd alleged they were downplaying the incident, which the extortionist had actually caused themselves. Ubiquity is now suing Krebs, alleging that he falsely accused the company of covering up a cyber attack. They're not saying that there was no breach, but they're saying we did not cover anything. We actually indicted him. It was somebody that was working for us. I remember at the time we say, wow, so do we still really recommend Ubiquity? Ubiquity is good hardware. This
Very
can
good
happen
hardware.
everywhere, anywhere. There was a lot of stories this past week about Russia and communications. Apparently, and Ukraine. Apparently, Ukraine got hit real hard on their national internet service, DDoS, and brought down a lot of servers, but they were recovered and came up pretty fast. And there was another story which I don't know why it's a story that put it out there. I mean, I would like to think that it would be good if it was kept undercover wraps kind of and let it continue happening. They said that Russian soldiers are opting to use smartphones that are not encrypted versus using the hardware that they've been given, which is encrypted communications to communicate with other units and all that. But it's easier for them to pick up their phone and call another unit and give them information and things like that. And that can be listened to. It can be monitored. And I would think that the monitoring of such is important. So why make a big deal about it? It's apparently the Washington Post put it out there. But yeah, they were saying that the problem is that the Russian soldiers are not following rules because of all the problems that are happening. But it's amazing how, who would have thought about this 30, 40 years ago if there's a war that, oh yeah, just pick up the phone and call. So it's we may be lucky that that's the way. I mean, people are lucky that this is happening like this because maybe they can find out, oh yeah, this happened and we should be aware and get out of the way, or I mean, when you start reading these, and I know it doesn't belong on a show like ours, but there's all kind of stories about how they're fighting with drones and attacking tanks with drones with a 3-pound bomb, and it's just amazing. Good for these people. Good for these people. I wish Spence was here because Spence likes the Wyze brand.
Yeah, go ahead and read that story. I grabbed that as well.
You want to talk about it?
No, go ahead.
A major
comment.
Wyze cam security flaw easily allowed hackers to access stored video, and it went unfixed for almost 3 years after the company was alerted to it. Additionally, it appeared that Wyze Cam V1, which went on sale back in 2017, will never be patched. So
Hardware.
it will, huh?
It's a hardware bug.
So
there's no way to patch it.
So it will remain vulnerable for as long as it is used. So if you have a Wyze Cam V1, version 1, I guess, be aware. And Bleeping Computers reports that a Wyze Cam internet camera vulnerability allows unauthenticated remote access to videos and images stored on local memory cards and has remained unfixed for almost 3 years. The bug, which has not been assigned a CVE ID, allowed remote users to access the content of the SD card in the camera via a web server listening on port 80 without requiring authentication. Upon inserting an SD card on the Wyze Cam Internet of Things, a symlink to it is automatically created in the www directory, which is served by the web server but without any access restriction. And as if that weren't bad enough, it gets worse. And listen to this. Many people reuse existing SD cards they have laying around, some of which still have private data on them, especially photos. The flaw gave access to all data on the card, not just files created by the camera. Finally, the AES encryption key is also stored on the card, potentially giving an attacker live access to the camera feed. Altogether, Bitdefender security researchers advised the company of 3 vulnerabilities. It took Wyze 6 months to fix one, 21 months to fix another, and just under 2 years to patch the SD card flaw. The V1 camera still hasn't been patched, and as the company announced last year, that it has reached end-of-life status, so it appears it will never. So this is like you giving somebody your old hard drive without erasing it completely and wiping it good. You stick an SD card, you had a 4 gig SD card in your camera, and you got a 16 gig, and this one is like just laying around. Say, oh yeah, I have only 1 gig on the camera. Let me put a 4 gig. And now people can see all these pictures or whatever other data is on it. So this is kind of bad. And the bad thing is that they never said anything before. It took somebody like Bitdefender or whoever to come up and say, hey, you have a problem, and found out that they knew about it for 3 years and didn't do anything about it. So be aware. Spence, if you're listening to it, I hope you don't have any V1s anywhere. Maybe these are too old and are not being sold. I don't know.
No, these are the ones that this is the first device that Wyze, really made their whole thing on.
So they're still selling it, you're saying?
No, I'm not saying they're still selling it, but
okay.
There's a lot of people that have these. This was the the popular. This was the the Wyze are these little white cube cameras that are very popular, because they're very cheap.
Yep, I never put an SD card in those. Remember the camera that we got?
Yeah, I have an SD card in mine.
Yep, I never did. I mean, I just use it to monitor, and I'm glad.
Yep. This is one of one of the disadvantages of some of this cheap Chinese hardware.
Yeah,
But just manage your risk and manage your expectation. That's all you can do.
yeah. Just be aware and make sure that things are. I mean, if they see somebody driving down the drive, a big deal. But to be able to get to other information just because.
Well, get to other information if you allow it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Um, you
It's 10
ready for
o'clock.
yeah, you ready for the specials?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's ready here and special.
So we're living in a pretty interesting world right now where you can't really say terms like, male or female connector or things like that. And in this case, if you've got an electrician that says, why assign gender roles to electrical connections? Let the circuits decide their own identities, which is a very progressive thing to say. You end up with the following result. End up with a fire at your location if you scroll down a little bit.
I know, I'm trying. There we go.
That's what you end up with if you allow electrical connections to decide their own gender or their own identity. All right, let's get it started off this morning with a sale on a computer over at Best Buy. This is a really nice looking device for the price. This is an Asus, and I've got I've got an Asus laptop. It's years old, but I've been very happy with it since I've had it. This is the Asus Vivo book, which Vivo used to be Sony's line, I think, which is odd. The Asus Vivo book. This is a 15.6-inch laptop. It's got a full numpad on there, so it's a full numpad keyboard, 15.6-inch. It's got a 10th gen Intel i3 processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and a 256 gigabyte PCIe SSD. This is a really nice looking computer. Not necessarily probably the best portable device because it's so large at 15.6. This device is normally $450, and you can get it on sale for $309. So this is a relatively nice powered computer with this. It comes with Windows 10. Excuse me. It comes with Windows 11 S mode, so you'll just have to change it out of that. Mm-hmm. But this is a nice looking device. It's got 802.11ac for the Wi-Fi chip. All in all, a really nice computer at a relatively inexpensive price, $309. Save $140 on that. Moving on to our next deal. This is a steal for a UPS, which if you have, we talk a lot about Home Assistant and home servers and things like that. If you've got any of those things in your house, I'd highly recommend picking up a UPS for them. And this is a really nice CyberPower 1350 VA 810 watt UPS. This device is normally about $150, and you can get it at Costco for just $100. It's got USB Type A and USB Type C on the front. On the back of the device, there are 5 surge protected and battery ports and 5 just surge protected ports. So you can connect your most vital things to the battery side and other devices to the surge side. And you can get this over at Costco for $100. So a nice deal on a CyberPower makes good UPS.
It's a very nice UPS. I have one of them for the TV and all the stuff around it. It works flawless.
Yeah, and a very good price on this. These are normally pretty expensive. You could spend $100 on a much smaller unit, like a 500 watt unit, and you'll spend about $100 normally. So if you're in the ballpark for a UPS, this might be a good one to check out. Moving on, we've got a gaming notebook over at B&H Photo. This is the Gigabyte 15.6-inch G5 gaming notebook. It comes with an 11 Gen 2.7 gigahertz i5 6-core processor, so it's 6 physical cores. It'll be hyper-threaded to 12. 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, 512 gigabyte M.2 PCIe SSD, a GeForce RTX 3060 mobile. So a very good mobile GPU. Again, not a portable device in any way, shape, or form. This is a chunky laptop. But you're going to save $400 on this over at B&H Photo. This thing's normally $1,300. So you can get it on sale right now. It's in stock. It's a new release by Gigabyte. It's on sale for $899. Save $400 on that. And I could have it here, according to B&H's website, in the next 3 days. So it's in stock now. If you're looking for a high-powered either gaming or editing computer for video or intense photo editing, CAD work, things like that, this is a pretty good price. The Gigabyte 15.6-inch G5. That's over at B&H Photo. Moving on to Walmart and their Hisense TVs. I've had a couple of these in here the past few weeks. I'll continue to bring them up. This TV is normally $1,500, Amnon, is the base price for this thing. It's a Hisense 65-inch 4K UHD ULED Android Smart TV. So it's not running Roku or anything like that. It is running Android Smart TV, but a 4K 65-inch television, normally $1,500. It's on sale for $700. $700 for that.
That's less than half, yeah.
Yeah, literally. So I have used Hisense TVs in the past. It's important to understand what you're buying. You're not buying a Samsung. You're not buying an LG. You're buying a Hisense. So manage your expectations with it. It supports, as we mentioned, HDR using Dolby Vision. Looking at the back of the device, it's got 3 HDMIs, actually 4 HDMIs. Still has composite in. So you can still connect standard definition devices to it, old game systems, and things like that. It's got an Ethernet port built into it as well. And of course, if you're not happy with Android TV, you can go ahead and plug in various streaming devices, a Fire TV, a Roku, things like that. So 65-inch 4K for $698 over at the old Walmart. Moving on, we've got another TV, this one over at Amazon, and this is a Vizio. This is a 70-inch 4K UHD LED HDR smart TV that runs the Vizio Smart, the Vizio Smart thing. This TV is normally $700, and you can get it on sale for $499. I believe this is the TV that I have something very similar to this. Not this exact model, but I think maybe I've got the 65-inch version of this TV. I have all Vizio TVs in my house. I have 3 flat screens. All 3 of them are Vizios. One of the Vizios is, I think, 13 years old at this point. And I've been very happy with Vizio. I will continue to buy them. I know they're not for everybody, but Vizio 70-inch on sale for $499. Save 30% over at Amazon. And maybe you're thinking about upgrading your Wi-Fi setup. We often talk about moving into a larger or having a larger piece of property that you're trying to get service in, and a default router might just not do it. Just one router, or maybe your ISP's modem with Wi-Fi, is not necessarily going to do it. So we've talked about mesh systems in the past. Well, Netgear has their mesh system called Orbi. And this is quite the sale on this device. This is a router with 2 satellite units. So it comes with the router that you'd hook up next to where your cable modem is. And then it comes with 3 mesh units that are wireless. You don't run Ethernet to them. They're wireless mesh units. This whole kit, so 3 units, a router, 2 satellite mesh units, normally $200, save $80 on this. It's 60% off. this 3-pack of wireless mesh systems. It's normally $80 for one of the mesh systems by itself, just one of the satellite units. So you can get the whole kit for $80. They claim that this will cover up to about 4,500 square feet with this. And this is pretty cool. If you're looking to expand or broaden your Wi-Fi coverage in a larger property, or maybe even, not even just a house, if you've got a business that's got some rooms in which your Wi-Fi coverage is a little lacking, you can go ahead and set this device up. $80 for this, a really, really good price on the Netgear Orbi. Speaking of SD cards, make sure you get a fresh one if you're plugging it into a camera. Here's a 512 gigabyte Samsung Evo micro SD card. They've got various sizes of these available. The 64 gigabyte one is $999. The 512 gigabyte one is $54. All of these are on sale on an average savings of about 30% each. But the biggest saving, of course, coming on the most expensive one. Normally $79. You can get it for $55. You save 31% on that. And that is over at Amazon. You'll find the link on the specials page on our website. This next one is something that isn't necessarily technology, but it is a Trickle Charger. So, Amnon, I was wondering if you could explain some of the use cases for something like this, for a 12-volt, 1-amp charger like this.
Anytime you have any device, vehicle, boat that uses a 12-volt battery, you use this and it sits, let me put it this way, you have any of those devices that you don't use much. I've got all these military vehicles that I obviously don't drive every day. And each and every one of them has a trickle charger of 24 volts, some of them 12 volts, and it keeps the batteries charged. It will not bring back a dead battery. It's not a charger. It's a trickle charger. It's not a jumper by no means. It is when your battery is full, and if you leave it over the winter, when you come back to the summer, it may be dead. This will make sure that they are not dead. It will just keep it, and what it does is it's smart. It gives it a little bit and stops. It will never overcharge. It's a great thing to have. And for $19.99, I would say that you can get, if you have a Harbor Freight in your area, they have those things that looks just like this, and they cost about $7 or $5 on sale. You can it's a 1 amp. The Harbor Freight is 1.5 amp, but that's what they do. Their job is to keep batteries charged to wherever they are. Well, it may add some, it may top it, but it's not to charge a dead battery. It is to keep a battery charged. And that's why they call it trickle, because it just gives it a little bit every now and then, just to keep it alive.
Yeah, so this is the cool thing about this device is you can do parallel connections with this. So you can charge up to 4 batteries at a time with this. It's got banana plugs, as you can see kind of in the diagram of it, so that you can connect the daisy chain multiple. If you've got a couple of vehicles or a couple of things that you want to keep charged, you can kind of daisy chain these together. This is normally a $65 device. Battery Minder is the company, which seems to be a pretty reputable brand. And you can get this over at Northern Tool and Equipment online. It's $19.99. It's in stock right now, and if you have a Northern Tool, which I don't think we have here, you can go ahead and pick this up in store as well. So a Battery Minder, 12-volt, 1-amp trickle charger available over at Northern Tool and Equipment. Pretty good price. Save $40 right off the top.
Yeah, this one may have options that the one I'm talking about, cheap, does not. There must be a reason. Cheap. Anyway.
And finally, rounding us out this morning, another gaming laptop. This is the Gigabyte Aorus 15.6-inch. This has got an IPS 240 hertz refresh rate gaming laptop. running an Intel Core i7 11th gen 11800H, 16 gigabytes of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce 3070, and a 1 terabyte SSD. This computer is normally $1,900 over at Best Buy, and it is on sale right now for $1,200. Save $700 right off of the top. Again, manage your expectations. Yep. This thing is a big, chunky laptop. It's not going to have great battery life, but if you need a powerful portable computer, maybe you're trying to do some live streaming or video work, maybe you're trying to do some live streaming of sports or get into that. This seems like it's still expensive. $1,200 is nothing to bat your eyes at, but normally for nearly a $2,000 laptop, this is a really good sale over at Best Buy, and it is in stock right now. You can, it's a pickup, so you order it, they deliver it to the store, and then you pick it up there. So that's how that works. Because I think it might have something to do with the price, maybe, because it's so expensive. So according to this, it's about a 7-day pickup. So you order it, and then you can pick it up at your local Best Buy. So check that out. Save $700 on the Gigabyte Aorus 15.6 inch 240 hertz IPS gaming laptop over at Old Best Buy. And that is specials here for this first show of April.
Good. Very nice.
Very nice.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the kind of the variety here in specials.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of things that, like that Trickle Charger, that you think probably like, oh, that's not really technology, but there's so many different things that you could use something like that for. So I like to be able to throw in some of that cool stuff when it makes sense.
It is technology, and it's something that we all live with. I mean, we all have cars, and we want to know.
Would it be accurate, though, to say that you could use that if you have extra 12-volt batteries, like backup 12-volt batteries?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you could,
that's what I do.
So if you've got a couple of 12 volts for whatever it might be, a car, maybe a generator, maybe even a UPS. Maybe you've got them daisy chained or connected via UPS, remotely. This would also be a device for that as well. So it doesn't have to be necessarily in a vehicle.
Right. I mean, my generators have the same kind of a thing, but it's solar. So it's always connected to the batteries to keep them alive. And
there you go.
And if you're like me and you have those, the smaller batteries, the 12 volts for different devices, like for UPSs and things like that, I made the cable that had a bunch of alligator clips on them, like 6. And I made 2 of those, and I charge 6 batteries. I leave it, not charge, I leave it on 6 batteries, and it keeps trickle charging them. It's there's nothing more frustrating than have a new battery sitting somewhere on the shelf, and battery dies, and you say, oh yeah, I have one, and you take it, and no, it's dead. And you can't even charge it. You can't do anything. And the nice thing about it, and I'm sure this one has it, is desulfating, which keeps the battery alive.
It does.
So
high frequency pulses safely remove sulfate from the battery's plates and prevent the batteries from holding a full charge.
Yeah, that's very important. And even in your car, you should put that on for a day or two. It will rejuvenate the battery, because the batteries the plates always get built up on them, and this one clears them out. It's that pulse technology that does it. So yeah, that is that's a good item to talk about, Nick.
Yeah. I try.
Yep. All right. Let's see. I'm
going to go grab a refill on coffee. So
sure. Go ahead. Um, I don't know what happened to Gal. I sent him text. Oh yeah, Gal had a new grandson. I don't know if I mentioned it last week. And they're in Israel, so right now it's only in the afternoon, early evening. Um, a group of attorneys general have asked Snap and TikTok to work more closely with parental control apps and apply more scrutiny to inappropriate content on their platform. The latest salvo is in a growing fight over child protection between governments and social media companies. Attorneys general from 43 states and territories said in a letter to executive at the two apps that they were worried the companies were not taking appropriate steps to allow parents to protect their kids on your platform. Specifically, the official said that Snap, which makes the Snapchat app, and TikTok should work more closely with third-party parental control services. I guess I should consider myself lucky that I don't have little kids that I need to worry about this. But as an ISP, customers always ask me, what can they do to protect their kids? And the best thing you can do, I mean, when kids are at an age where they already have a phone, they should get, I think they should get the phone once you educate them to what's going on. So it's not a lot to worry about. But the best thing is changing the DNS to a safe DNS. There are safe DNSs out there that block bad, let's call them bad actors. You can go everywhere, but they have like a list of bad sites that they will not connect to. Period. Will not connect to. Now, when the kids grow a little older and they get smarter, they can figure out how to change that back. The days when Hannah was real young, then we used, I think it was called Net Nanny or something like that.
Net Nanny, that's software. Is
Yeah.
it still software?
I have no idea. This is on the computer. Back then, there was no smartphones. But, and it did the job. It really did the job. But today with the phones, that's a little harder, and especially when they're all another way to control what the kids do. And again, we're talking computers. Put the computer in a public place, not in the room. We used to say, don't let them keep a computer in the bedroom. But again, today it's cell phones. It's harder. I don't have much experience with how to stop or how to prevent children from going to different sites on a smartphone other than changing the DNS. But yeah, it's a problem if they go to, I mean, TikTok, I don't know, does TikTok, as far as you know, does it have any, let's not worry about the addiction and influence, but do they have like porn or?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay. So you see, you need to, yeah. I don't know how you can stop it. I guess just work with them. Apparently, there are some. I mean, because they're saying that those attorneys general said that Snap and TikTok should work more closely with third-party parental control services. So apparently there are. And you may want to look into it if you're worried. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah. We're going to, again, Russia. I mean, Russia is dominating the news, even the tech news, because of things that are happening. Blocking access to internet. Why don't you tell me I forgot that? Blocking access to internet.
My name's also not mine. Oh, there you go.
Blocking access to internet resources requires lots of hardware. But due to sanctions, there are fears in Russia that a breakdown in systems operations may be just months away. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been going on for more than a month. It isn't going to plan, according to plan. In parallel, with terrible images being shared around the world, Russia is using its famous site blocking systems to deny access to websites that dare to challenge the Kremlin narrative of Putin's special operation. Telecom regulator, whatever, is working harder than ever to maintain its blockades against everything from Google News, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, to the thousands of pirate sites and other resources on the country's blacklist. But, like the invasion itself, things aren't going to plan here either. They need to put a lot of resources into stopping that. And, you can't. And we read the story before that now there's maybe a new system that they cannot take down. But I was reading something also about the fact that at least with all this conflict, Russia is still cooperating with their Western allies on the space station. And they're extending it to 2033 or something like that. Then you read a story about the fact that they decided they're going to stop any kind of upgrading, maintaining everything as far as hardware goes because of the sanctions on parts. They need the parts for other things. So I say, oh, we're not going to do anything with that. That's kind of bad. And they say, oh, yeah, well, only time we'll do this is if they take the complete, all the sanctions off. It's sort of nice to see that sanctions do work in a world like ours where everything is based on technology, kind of, that it does hurt the bad guys, but it can come back to bite. We'll have to wait and see. Anything in chat? I didn't read it. This is this is so sad. A nearly decade long scheme to steal millions of dollars of computers and iPads from Yale University School of Medicine is officially over. Former Yale administrator Jamie Petrone, 42, pleaded guilty Monday in federal court in Hartford, Connecticut, to 2 counts of wire fraud and tax offense for her role in the plot. Petrone's ploy started as far back as 2013 and continues well into 2021 while she worked at the university. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Connecticut, until recently, her role was the Director of Finance and Administration for the Department of Emergency Medicine at Yale. And I can't imagine her not making oodles of money. As part of this job, Patron had the authority to make and authorize certain purchases for the department as long as the amount was below $10,000. And the story went on to read that she was buying a lot of hardware or getting other people to order a lot of hardware, and then she was selling it to some hardware company that was reimbursing her for less money than what it was worth. Everybody was making money, but it was like $40 million. This is a lot. And this is, I mean, here's a person that now, as far as, I mean, you know, she's 42 years old. Is that what? Yeah. Come on. You are ruined. Who's going to hire you? Unless she's going into business for herself, selling hardware. I don't know. But yeah, she had to give back houses and all kind of vehicles, that luxury vehicles that she bought. You have a great job, a cushy job, kind of. And greed just kills you. But thank God that they, I mean, and think about those people that those tuitions will have to go up because of the loss of money. I mean, it's a lot. It affects everything down to the janitor at the university. Bad, bad, bad. So did you, are you using Chrome?
Yep.
Did you upgrade yours to 100?
Yes. I think it happened automatically, but yeah.
Yeah. It says that Google says the Chrome team is delighted to announce the promotion of Chrome 100 to the stable channel for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Chrome 100 is also promoted to our new extended stable channel for Windows and Mac. This will roll out over the coming days and weeks. Chrome 100.0. Blah, 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 blah contains a number of fixes and improvements. A list of changes is available in the log. It was interesting because I had a customer at the beginning of the week that said that they couldn't see something on one of their web pages. Says, Amnon, you try it. Can you see it? I said, yeah, I see it. Well, I said, clear your cache to do that. I said, nothing would bring it up. It was a PDF. And I wanted to make sure we're using the same. I said, go to your help and tell me what you see. It says, well, right now it's doing an update. I said, okay. And once it was finished, everything was working correctly. I don't know what they did over there that actually messed things up, current things. But yeah, normally it happens automatically. I don't know if there's a way to stop it, and maybe that's what they were doing.
I don't think you want to stop.
No, I don't. You really need to have it.
You definitely want to do your Chrome update.
Yep. Apple stores and Apple authorized service providers will now be alerted if an iPhone has been reported as missing in the GSMA device registry when a customer brings in a device to be serviced. This is according to an internal memo obtained by Mac Rumors. I love that, internal memo obtained by Mac Rumors. I mean, what? They don't want people to know this?
Well, it's an internal memo. I mean, they just release it to their staff because it's the staff's the one that's interacting.
If an Apple technician sees a message in their internal Mobile Genius or GSX system indicating that a device has been reported as missing, they are instructed to decline the repair, according to Apple's memo shared on Monday. The new policy should help to reduce the amount of stolen iPhones brought to Apple for repair. The GSMA device registry is a global database designed for customers to report the devices as missing in the event of loss or theft. The report notes that Apple stores and Apple authorized service providers are already unable to service an iPhone if the customer cannot disable Find My iPhone. I could just see a situation. You know what they do when you go and you give a credit card that's bad. You're trying to pay with it. They used to take it and cut it in half. So here, maybe they'll have some kind of device that'll just put it in there and it'll smash it. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this is a lot of nerve for somebody to. Well, I guess you could buy something not knowing that it was stolen. But to take it to Apple,
they if it's stolen, they want to try and get it wiped, and they can go to the store and create some sob story as to why they need help, and that's a problem.
Yeah. Yep. And software-wise, if I just tell you, I know you don't use much, you don't watch much TV, live TV.
No.
But if I go free, does that mean anything to you?
No.
Okay. There's a commercial by TurboTax that says that it's free.
Oh, I think I heard about this story.
Yeah. So the Federal Trade Commission sued Intuit in federal court last Monday, claiming it has deceived customers for years by marketing its TurboTax software as free and then charging most users when they file their income taxes. Around 56 million people filed their taxes with TurboTax in 2021, according to an Intuit shareholder presentation in January. Those individuals filed 54 million W-2s and 40 million 1099 tax forms. The FTC sued Intuit in U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California, asking for an immediate halt to its bogus advertising as taxpayers rush to meet the April 18th deadline to file their 2021 income taxes. The agency also issued a parallel administrative complaint on Monday. That proceedings will determine whether Intuit conduct violated the FTC Act. And much of Intuit advertising tells consumers they can file their income taxes for free online using TurboTax. But that's not true for most users, including independent contractors in a gig economy who get a 1099 tax form. So I'm sure that if you did it last year, I mean, they had it back then too, you already know that it's not free.
Well, it is free under certain.
Yeah, but if you're a business and if you get 1099 or
if you're a business, you're not getting a 1099. You're an employee.
Well, no, I mean if you are in business, your own, your. And it's just, I mean, it's deceiving any way you look at it. So now Microsoft is finally making it easier to change your default browser in Windows 11. A new update has started rolling out last week that allows Windows 11 users to change the default browser with a single click. After testing the changes in December, this new one-click method is rolling out to all Windows 11 users. Originally, Windows 11 shipped without a simple button to switch default browsers that was always available in Windows 10. Instead, Microsoft forced Windows 11 users to change individual file extensions or protocol handlers for HTTP, HTTPS, HTML, HTML, or you had to tick a checkbox that only appeared when you click a link from outside the browser. Microsoft defended its decision to make switching default harder, but rival browser makers like Mozilla, Brave, and even Google's head of Chrome criticized Microsoft's approach. Of course, they will criticize Microsoft because Microsoft made it hard for people to use other browsers as a default. Now, when they say default, that's when you click on a link and the link opens a browser. You can always use Chrome if you want to by clicking on Chrome and opening and using it. But if you're in an email and there's a link to a site and you click on it, that will open the default browser. And that's what was the problem. So now you can apparently do that. It's about time. Yeah, I mean, people should be able to make their own mind what browser they want to use and how. This is a little bit, kind of high tech. Google has proposed a change on how Linux kernel handles shutdowns, specifically when NVMe's drivers are used. So they're saying, I mean, I'm not going to get into all the nitty gritty, but they're saying that when you shut down a computer that has an NVMe and it takes longer to shut down. It takes 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds for each NVMe to shut it down. So if you have 4 NVMEs, it can take considerable amount of time. But you said, well, why doesn't it shut down? So they're proposing a patch to it that all PCI Express based devices are moved to use the async interface, and that will solve the problems. I mean, things will make it faster is great. So there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just a proposal at this time. And remember, I mean, we keep getting Facebook got a real bad name during the last elections and ever since too. A group of Facebook engineers identified a massive ranking failure that exposed as much as half of all news feed views to potential integrity risks over the past 6 months. According to an internal report on the incident obtained by The Verge, the engineers first noticed the issue last October when a sudden surge of misinformation began flowing through the news feed. I mean, look, it takes them, I mean, this is 6 months it's been going. They just figured out how to deal with it. And who knows how long before that. Instead of suppressing posts from repeat misinformation offenders that were reviewed by the company's network of outside fact checkers, the news feed was instead giving the post distribution spiking views by as much as 30% globally. Unable to find the root cause, the engineers watched the surge subside a few weeks later and then flare up repeatedly until the ranking issues was fixed on March 11th. The thing was that you can't rely on Facebook, on Twitter, on any of these. And I remember we talked about it a lot, that they do things and they can engineer the algorithms to do what they want. And if you have a group of people who think one way, then that's the way Facebook is going to go. And probably nobody will pay attention to it because everybody cares there is to make money. As long as they make money, I don't know how it works. And people on the outside see what's going on and they warn everybody, hey, that's not right. That's not right. Nobody pays attention. Oh, no, Facebook says it is, then everything is fine. So, I'm out of relevant stories there. But I wanted to talk to you. I was hoping God is going to be here to talk about Plex. I was trying to call you last week because Marshall suddenly couldn't get the live TV off of my Plex.
Okay.
Off the air. I mean, it was working, but suddenly it didn't work. And I tried, and I went in there, and I finally found it that it was under the more and all that, and I pinned it to his home menu, and I log in as him on the computer, and it's working, but it still didn't work on his TV. So I remember that I had the problem of seeing live TV on the TV, but it was working on the computer a few weeks ago, and Gal found out that the app messed it up. A release of the app for the TV screwed something up, and he said, "Yeah, they're saying to erase it, to remove the app and download it again," and that fixed it. So I had Marshall do that. That didn't work either, but at this point, he could go to more and to my server and see the live TV. So I was trying to have him pin it to his home. I don't know why me pinning it on the app.
Because you did it doing it on the computer. It's different on the device. Yeah.
Yeah. So
different apps.
So I was trying to get him to do it on the TV by clicking on the three dots, and he didn't even have the three dots.
Some of this is sounding like sounds like some user error at this point.
Well, it's he said that's fine. I can always just click, and now I know to go to more and go to Amnon and go to live TV.
Yeah, you can definitely pin that stuff on a rope.
It was interesting, but yeah, I mean, everything she's working right. What?
Well, since Gal didn't end up popping in, I'll go ahead and explain a little bit about what happened last weekend.
Right.
So if you listen to last weekend's show, I had an issue with my home server, which is running Proxmox, where I could not get it to boot off of the host device, the default device. There were a couple of different things. Fortunately, I knew all my data was secure. I didn't have any problems on that. I knew my data was good. But I still could not boot from the default hard drive or the default SSD. I had to boot from a rescue CD. So after the show last week, I started playing around with some more settings and Gal put me in the direction of looking at Grub, which is the bootloader that is used. It's Linux. It's the bootloader. So after starting to do some delving and digging into that, and with some back and forth with Gal yesterday or on last Sunday, that's exactly what it was. And there was a guide on how to recover a Grub failure inside of Proxmox. It's on their Wikipedia, their help Wikipedia. and following those steps and making some changes in some commands that I needed to, I was able to recover grub, and now I'm able to boot into Proxmox without any problems. So problem is fortunately resolved with no data loss and nothing else crazy.
And nothing else got clobbered. I mean, you have no idea how this happened.
No, I don't know. I've no idea still. And I even asked him that. I said, I still don't understand how exactly or what exactly happened. And I don't know if the grub failure was, I don't know if the grub failure was the original issue or after all of the different things I did, there was a grub error. I don't know. There were so many things that were done, including BIOS updates and software updates and so many different things. I just don't know. I don't know I don't know if that was the original issue or something else. I just don't.
But you got it fixed and everything is back to normal.
Yep. And then I set up a really cool automation this past week. We talked about it. These Zeus devices were on sale. I picked up a open close sensor and an additional water sensor, which I haven't deployed yet. And I believe I think we talked about it last week of using an open close sensor on a window to control the HVAC system. So I was able to go ahead and pretty easily configure that. And now I've got it set up that when the front right window opens, which is the one I always open if I'm cracking the windows open, it will automatically turn the HVAC system from whatever it's on, heat or cool, to just off. So not the most in-depth automation in the world.
It is. But, what do you mean not? It's
But there's been times in which I've cracked open the windows and then left, and then I get back home and I'm like, oh damn it, the heat and or air is running, and it's typically it'll be the air running during the summer to try and keep the house cool, yet I've got the windows open to make it warmer. So
yes, so here is what you need now. You need a 7-horse motor. Look at
to what? Automatically open the window?
To automatically close the window. If with the temperature sensor, if it gets too hot in the house, it'll close the window.
Well, I don't have a temperature sensor. I guess I do need to do that. I technically do have a temperature sensor because I can read the temperature off of my thermostat. The ambient temperature. But so I might do some more stuff. I'm not a very picky person when it comes to the temperature inside. And I know that I could do some real in-depth automation with if the temperature is this outside, then do this. But with humidity down here and with my allergies and stuff like that, it's not always the most clear cut. I mean, sometimes if it's 77 degrees outside, or I might open the windows, even though I only want it to be 71 inside. It's just nice to get fresh air and allow the wind to come through. So I don't think I'm going to go that in depth into it, just because I don't typically follow a standard like that. But yeah, it's cool to have the window sensor. Works like a charm. Shuts off the HVAC system, and I don't have it set. I don't have it set to turn back on when it's done. But I presumably could do that in the future.
I have about 4 water sensors, not the Zeus ones, just a regular with an alarm on them. Downstairs in the basement, one is where the water drain for the washing machine is, if it comes back up. And
let me ask you about that one. So that's what I bought my second one for my washing machine.
Yeah.
Is your drain like in the wall so it follows a little tube and goes into or is your drain on the ground?
No, it's always a tube. A tube. It's
a tube in like the box where the connection is for the water.
Yeah.
How do you?
It's okay with us. It's in the basement. The wall is not finished, so you see the metal pipe tube that goes all the way down. So when it overflows, there's water on the floor. You see it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out.
Yours,
I don't know where
yeah.
I don't know where to put my second water sensor. I don't know if I want to put it under the washer in case the washer
No.
leaks. That seems probably unlikely.
Unlikely.
But yeah, I need to figure out a place to put it for the in case that does overflow. Yeah.
So what you would have to do in this case is to actually cut a little hole in front. I mean, if you just look where the drain, where the
Well, I don't need to cut a hole in front because there's a box. It's in the garage, so it's sheetrock. There's a box in the wall where the water hookups are and the drain is. So I just need to I guess, put it in there somewhere.
No, okay, yeah, you could put it up at the top.
That's what I was just wondering is where you typically put a water sensor for a washer.
The thing that I saw that didn't make sense to me about those water sensors, it says that it should not be immersed in water and no water should go on top of it. I'm saying, look.
Well, yeah, but you can't if you put it so the water sensor. Let me pull this out. The water sensor has got 4 probes. Come on, focus.
Right.
The water sensor's got 4 probes, but if you open it up, if you open the device,
we have a visitor.
Yes, we do. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hi.
So if you open the device up, though, it's a regular circuit board. If you get this in water, your device is going to be ruined. So I mean, if you have like a major flood, you're shit out of luck. I mean, this is not going to be a solution. This is not a submersible device. This is one of those 4 prongs needs to connect with water for ground, and then it will alert.
So any of them?
Correct.
It's not the 2 of them need to be in water. So like,
nope.
Oh, so in that case, you can solder a wire. No. But I would.
Of course you would. You would buy a water sensor and then solder a piece of wire.
No. Let me tell you why. I would. Because let me continue. One is there. One is in the hole in the ground where the sump pump is to see if water, and it's suspended kind of like about 10 inches up. So water can be there, but if it doesn't pump, it keep going up and then it'll let me know. So, and one is in a bucket that's under the water filter just in case something is leaking there. So yeah, I'm not going to dangle this one up in the air.
Yeah, so, you could do that. The only problem you have with that is it's not a problem, but your alert, you're not going to know if you're always home. So you don't have that big of a, your problem's a little bit different. But like if I had 4 devices hooked to this and it said water sensor, I wouldn't know what the hell the problem was unless I was here. That's your only problem is it's a single relay. It's a single alert condition met or
no, I'm not talking.
You're talking about monitoring multiple things though.
Not with one. No, not with one. One for each thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought you were going to grab individual probes.
No.
No. Which would work, but you wouldn't really know exactly what your problem was.
Yeah, that's correct. You wouldn't know. No, I'm talking about putting one on each site and have a wire going into the hole and then another one.
You absolutely, I'm sure you could do that. I don't know. I'll crack it open again. I don't know if there's a remote connector probe on the board, or if you just have to grab it off one of those terminals.
Well, yeah, just solder it. So what's up, Mike?
Oh, not a whole lot. What are you guys up to?
Not much. What are you doing this time of morning?
Well, Susan and I have been sick for the last 3 days, so I'm sitting here doing absolutely nothing.
You should be in bed.
I have been in bed. That's why I'm up and getting up out of bed, trying not to be in bed.
Oh. How are things?
There doesn't look to be a remote. There doesn't look to be an add-on on this. You'd have to either solder it or desolder one of the pins. And then reconnect.
Yeah.
Can you get to the circuit board?
Yeah. It's fully exposed. So you could do a whole bunch of stuff.
I can't believe how thin and small that thing is. I mean, it is smaller than the probe that's on the other the water sensors that I have. that's at the end of the wire. It's unbelievable. It's
Well, let's see the circuit board, Nick. The whole circuit board. It's probably not much in it.
There's not.
All it's doing is checking the conductivity between.
You've got some sort of microprocessor up there.
It may not be a microprocessor. It may be a logic gate.
It's got a big S on it. I have to look up what it. Oh, it's not an S. I'll look it up. And then it's got 2 LEDs, and then the 4 probes that push through, and then a couple of capacitors, a button to pair it, and that's about it. It's not very complicated.
Yeah, but that IC on the board that you're looking at, which takes up most of the real estate, the actual IC inside of that's only about 10% of that.
It's a Silicon Labs microprocessor.
Which one?
Yeah. I'll try and let you know. I did not install any of them yet.
They at one point before the crisis started, you could buy some microprocessors for less than $1 a piece.
These things are cheap. I think they're what, $20, Amnon, something like that.
Yeah, 18 something.
And I assume that microprocessor is also the Z-Wave. It's also handling the Z-Wave functionality on this as well. So
how do they communicate with the controller?
Z-Wave.
I don't know what Z-Wave is.
It's
wireless.
Yeah, it's like what, 900 megahertz or something like that. It's some frequency. So yeah, I've got 2 smoke alarms, a water sensor on the hot water heater, a window sensor, and then a second water sensor that I need to connect at some point. I need to test the smoke alarms. I need to go light a match next to one and see what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
The one thing I wasn't clear about is they said this sensor, it's good for 30 feet. I mean, it will in line of sight. So, I mean,
it's line of sight, but the cool thing about Z-Wave is depending on the device you buy, like my Z-Wave fire alarms and the Z-Wave fire alarms that you have, they are a Z-Wave relay. So if your water sensor can't talk directly to your Z-Wave controller, it will relay itself through the fire alarm. Now, I don't believe, and I wish Gal was here, but I don't believe these Zeus devices are not relays, but I think the larger devices are relays, because I remember that it says it somewhere on the packaging that it's a Z-Wave relay. So as long as you build essentially kind of a mesh of Z-Wave stuff, if it can't talk directly to the controller itself, it will relay through a device. The only problem with that is if it's a battery-operated device, you're going to see degradation likely in terms of battery life because
a lot faster,
it's not a lot faster, but I mean, I've had my water sensor set up now for a couple of months. It's still at 100%. The smoke alarms have both dipped to 99%. And I've had those for probably about 2 or 3 weeks now, which is fine. I mean, you want about 6 months. 6 months out of a smoke detector is about all you need. And they're AA batteries, so I'll go ahead and replace those. But it's doing things. It's relaying. It's checking in with the hub when it hasn't gone off yet, so it hasn't done any of that. But
this is just like your phone battery going down when you're in an area where there's no tower, and it just keeps on trying and trying and trying and trying.
Yeah. In some ways, absolutely. So yeah, it's cool. I'm glad I got a couple of little automation things done. The window thing, I'm very, very excited about having that window sensor working. I'm curious to see what the battery life on that's going to be, because during the summer, I'll be constantly opening and closing that window.
Yeah. What kind of battery goes in it?
I think it's the same. I think they're all the same. They're all that the
CR123.
No, 2032.
2032, yeah.
No, there's 2032 and there's CR123, which are one smaller than like a very short AA. I mean, obviously in the water sensor, it's a 2032, but in the I can't remember. Maybe it was just in that 4-in-1 sensor that I got.
Yeah, I think in the open close sensor it's a 2032 as well. I believe
Okay.
all of the Zeus devices that are small like that all use the
Yeah. Okay.
I guess I need to order some 2032s just to have, because I don't.
By the way, if you ever place an order with DigiKey or with Mauser, that's the place to buy the 2032s. You can get them for $0.25 a piece.
Yeah, but how many do you have to buy?
Oh, 10. You can buy them one, but then it's only about 35 cents. No, I buy them 10 at a time, but I buy from them a lot. So the shipping is nothing because I'm paying shipping on the stuff I need.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
you
if
get a 10-pack of those on Amazon for $5.
Yep.
It's not the greatest deal in the world. But.
At one point when I was working on computers, I'd go through 5 a month.
Oh. Yeah, you get it wherever the cheapest. I mean, many of these. I mean, eBay, Amazon, they sell the name brands. And even if you buy something that's not a name brand, I mean, if it's cheap enough, it's fine.
The other problem is they have to ship them ground.
Yeah.
There's 20 batteries from Power Owl for $6. So
Yeah, it's fine.
And at one point I was paying $2 a piece for them a long time ago.
You can always, Nick, you can always buy these and then buy some other batteries that you need from the same vendor instead of waiting. I mean, I've got a bunch of different ones that are like for remotes and for the watches and things like that. And they said that they're good for a few years and then they go bad, but it's fine.
How long is a CR 2032 good for?
It all depends what it's. Oh, you mean on the shelf?
Yeah.
I've got some that I think last time I bought any of them was probably about 5-6 years ago, and I just changed when
But maybe I shouldn't buy 20 then. That might be too many.
Well, it all depends how often you're going to have to change them and how many sensors.
I haven't changed anything.
And how many sensors.
Maybe I'll find. Maybe I'll just go to the grocery store and just grab one or two. That's about all.
Well, it's going to, I think if you're going to go to the store and buy them, they're going to
it's going to cost more, but the whole difference is you can buy 20 for $6 and they'll all end up going bad, or I'll lose them by the time I need to change them, or I can just buy 5 and call it a day. It's like, great,
Well,
you get more.
You can actually buy them at a dollar store for real cheap. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't trust them, but to get you by for a year, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. So, okay. I guess I'm going to cancel this order. I don't need 20. That's kind of stupid.
Well, you need 20 because you end up giving them away.
I don't have anybody I'm giving 20, 32.
You don't have any friends?
No, I don't actually. That's why I do this show on Sunday morning.
Anyway.
Anywho.
We're coming to the end of the show. Unless there's something else you want to mention.
No, sir.
All right. I did ask Gal if everything was okay. He said, "Oh, shoot. I didn't realize what time it was." I guess he got busy and stuff, so.
Yeah. Such as.
Yep. No, it's fine. It's fine. All right. Well, thanks, Nick. Mike, thanks for dropping in. I wish you jumped in earlier.
Thanks for letting. Well, I tried to, but Nick wouldn't tell me what the link.
What?
You sent me a message at 10:44. What do you mean you tried jumping in earlier?
What do you mean he wouldn't tell you what?
He waited 10 minutes to answer me.
I didn't see your message. I was doing the show.
What did you need?
I didn't need the link.
Why? Why don't you have the link?
Where would I have it?
I guess we need to take Mike off of the show page. I mean, if Mike doesn't have the link.
He does have the link. He's in the damn
same
chat that I'm in.
I know.
He's in the NCN chat. I see him in here right now.
How do I have the Zoom link?
I'm going to repost it. It was last posted April 11, 2021.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Do you have any idea how hard it is in Skype?
Oh, come on.
Back to that.
Well, there's nothing else in the chat, so I just reposted. There you go.
What? And you're saying that's the NCN chat?
It's
yes, sir.
Yeah.
I don't even know where that is. I'll have to look for it.
Just look in Skype.
Oh, anyway, I have it now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's the same.
You guys don't know what all this crap I go through here.
That's okay. I'm not going to say anything. All right, Mike.
All right, guys. Good to see you.
Thanks. Good seeing you. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Arlette, Micha, Eleanor, Sarid. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9. But you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And remember, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave with his daily news show, and also on 107.9 FM in Wilmington. But anywhere in the world, you can just turn on your Echo device and say, play 980 The Wave. And you can always go and listen to the recordings of all the shows on nickcraig.com. And Tuesdays, 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast. That's for survival games and gaming news on Twitch. So 7 p.m. Tuesday evening, Eastern. Just go to twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. Have a great week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.